Hello, everybody. I am not Chattanooga Ed, but he is backstage doing some really awesome setup right now. So we're going to give him a minute to do that. He's asked me to say the hellos because usually I don't get tongue-tied on them, but let's give it a try. We've got Pew Fish Zone, J. Oliver's Guppies, and Aquatic, Sandy Dowdy, Aristotle 760, Merdul Singh, Rico Stan, hello, Crown Tail Half Moon, Jamie McDonald, Lisa and the Cult Jam, Black Label Carling, John Cox, Dragon Lair, Post Seaweed, Sand Creek Aquatics 2, Melissa Jeswald, John McKenzie, some duplicates there. Hello again. John Cox, good to see you. Sickless23, what's up? Dave's Aquarium Thoughts, who is coming up next after this stream. Tampa Tom Fishing, what's going on? Mike's Aquatics and Things, SC Catahulas, Barbara Jackson, Fishkeeper Cole, the lovely Candy Overhauls is with us, Monster Fish Gal, Cody Sun, Kaler's Aquatics, BJ Palmer, CPC Aquatics. Goodness, I appreciate you all being here. Holly Gibbs, Sarah M. Snow, hello again, Black Label Carling, Jeffrey Watts. I think I missed some people. If I did, I'm sorry. William Pridemore, what's up? Mainly Betta, Scott's Aquatics, Leah Jet, rocking and rolling down through here. I think Ed is set up, so let's bring in the star of the show and the man of the hour.
Hey there. I had to swing it around, and hopefully this will work. Good. Can you guys hear me fine?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, so you guys are seeing a side of the fish room you don't see very often, which is kind of unusual. But I have set up a tank, and I have a whole mess of rocks that we're going to put in the water and see what they look like. These are mostly aquarium rocks that you can get at your local fish store. There's some that you can find outside all around. We've got the whole planet is a rock. So, there's rocks around everyone, anywhere on the world, anywhere there's rocks. So let's just talk about a few of the basics on rocks before we get too far into it. There's three types of rocks. There's igneous. They're ones that came from the ground because the core, of the earth is like all lava and it shoots up rock. And igneous is like fresh new rocks. Then they break down and they turn into dirt and sediment, sand. That's sedimentary rocks. And that's where we got to be careful on picking up rocks outside and putting them in our tanks. And then we have metamorphic rocks. And those are rocks that have that sandstone has squeezed down and turned into, I think, shale or quartz. It squeezes down. The cats are loving all the rocks, so they're going to be all over the place. But you're on my notes, Nico. Come on.
And I am still here. I just put you full screen because you've got the cool stuff going on there. I'm going to be answering questions in the chat. If you've got them, feel free to throw them in there.
Yep. Okay. Let me see. So now, there's ways that you can check how if the rock is safe for your fish tank. And what'll happen is it. Oh, sorry. What?
I was just saying, good old muriatic acid.
Yep. This stuff, I've got it for cleaning off concrete, but it also, I was reading it, and it's also for lowering the pH in your pool. So what we're doing is we're going to put it on some sedimentary rocks, and we're going to see if it foams up. And I can also put it on some metamorphic. I don't want to put it on too many of these rocks just because I know that they're already tank safe. But if you're going out searching for rocks, we'll know what to look for. So this is a rock that I just found in a local stream. Yeah, and you know what? We're going to also talk about boiling rocks too in a minute. But first, let's just talk about how to find out what they are. And then this is a piece of lime. It's like the coral that you'd find in a store to put in your saltwater tanks.
Ow.
Uh-oh. And then I actually couldn't find sandstone. And so I mentioned 3 types of rocks. There's actually 5 types of rocks. Because there's also meteorites. If you get a meteorite, sell it. You're not going to put that in your tank. And then there's man-made rocks. And this is concrete. And we're going to see what the acid does on concrete also. So let's just do that and see what happens.
Okay, I'm here. I'm alive still. My cat decided to knock a 1.5-foot stack of shipping boxes off on my head.
I heard the crash.
I do want to say a huge thank you. We've got 105 people watching, and we've got 70 thumbs ups. That's amazing. Thank you all very much for supporting this guy right here, Chattanooga Ed, an awesome dude. And Ed, congrats to you. We're talking about hoping to break 700. You're at 719 subscribers, my friend.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, so I'm going to get water all over the place. So I put a sleeping bag on top of the table that I keep my camera and everything on. And then with acid, I don't want to burn holes in my sleeping bag. I don't know if this stuff would actually do that, but maybe after a while. So, and I don't want the cat too close either. But, so what I'm going to do is I've just got a little wood stick. And we're going to...
So I would like to say real quick, for legal disclaimers and safety purposes, John Cox mentioning proper personal protective equipment, using PPE when using muriatic acid and any type of chemicals and things of that nature.
Can you see I can't really see the bubbling too well, but you can see it. It like bubbled a little bit on top. That white's really washing it out. But lime, so if you put the lime in your tank, it's going to raise your pH a lot. So that's why you don't want to put a lot of different sedimentary rocks in there. But it might be a trick where you want to break a little piece up and throw it in guppy tanks or something to harden up the water a little bit. Well, now I got two cats.
I was going to ask, a lot of times you hear people mention using crushed coral to bring up their pH. Would you recommend something like that if you don't have crushed coral on hand?
Yeah. I think you can. You can also use like crushed seashells too. But yeah, I would think that would be a great thing to do. It's just a little piece of that. So I'm going to dip my stick in, and it's not melting the stick or burning the stick. Now this is a metamorphic rock. It was probably once sandstone that had lots of pressure, but you'll see that the acid is not bubbling whatsoever. So that would be totally fine in your tank. It's not going to leach any minerals in your tank. So that's awesome. I'm going to get a paper towel. I have to keep the paper towels off the table because as soon as the cats see a paper towel thing, they like turn it into a nest. They destroy it. So I'm going to wipe that off. And then before I'd stick that in my tank, I would thoroughly clean it. And now let's see what the acid does to the concrete. Hopefully the light isn't too bright on it and we'll be able to watch it. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, look at that. So like if you're putting concrete in your tank, there's a really good chance whatever they use, I mean, they probably use lime or something in this concrete, and that's what's causing that to fizz.
Oh, where's my edit button?
But like Bob earlier in the other stream was saying that the concrete out at his house is fine. So definitely, if you're going to use concrete, test it, because you don't want to kill all your fish eventually.
Absolutely. There we go. I got your legal disclaimer up here on the screen.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of legal disclaimers. Oh, man, baby cat just sat on my chair. Come on, sweetheart. I need to sit here. Okay.
Now, so we've got a question about using household items for testing. Vinegar, I believe, is another one people use for testing, if I'm not mistaken.
You can take a cup of vinegar, just take so much more, you know. You can take vinegar and put it like in a clear glass and fill it and then drop your rock in that and see if it starts to bubble. So yeah, that'll definitely work. You can use it from your test kits also for your water safety, or your water set kit for checking, I think, GH. You drop a little bit of that acid on it, it'll work too. But that's just so much more expensive. This is such a cheap, I mean, this is something I already had, and I'm not going to, I got a whole jug. I only needed like an ounce to clean some concrete or some bricks because I had some cracked bricks on the side of my house and I had to mortar it up. And so some of the concrete got on the bricks. So I used that on the bricks and it ate all the concrete off the mortar and made it look pretty. So that's why I've got a whole jug, and literally it's still a full gallon. So I'll have that forever. But let's just talk about, so we talked about checking for your pH and your sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic is pretty much always okay. Let's also talk about how do you clean your rocks. And, James, you can get back on the screen for this.
All right, I'll be right up there. I'm answering a couple questions in the chat.
Okay.
Don't want you to see my thinking face.
Okay. Everybody says never boil rocks. And the idea of boiling a rock is if there's water in it, it can explode. And it's true. It definitely can. But, I mean, fireplaces are made with rocks, and a fireplace gets over 900 degrees. When you're boiling, it's about between 150 to 250. Something to think about, how often they blow up. People use rocks around campfires, and they don't blow up all the time there. And that gets real hot. But, so there's like a theory on you can clean your rocks or boil your rocks as long as you keep it less than 30 minutes. It doesn't take that long to boil a lobster. And a lobster is going to have a lot more bacteria and stuff on it than this rock. I mean, it's a live, living organism that eats dead things and fish poop and everything else. It's got a lot of bacteria in it. You put it in a pot 12 to 18 minutes. So average 15 minutes, and you're able to eat a lobster. Basically, you can boil a rock, you put a rock in water for 1 minute, and it's going to kill 99.9% of anything on your rock.
Secret History Living in Your Aquarium says, I boil rocks all day long. He also said, Alex said, household items to also test a shard of glass, a steel nail, and a mirror. Those items will let you figure out the mole scale hardness. Anything over a 6 is safe other than heavy metals.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep. I wanted to do a little more prep today. It's kind of funny because James was talking about being sick. This morning, I had to get checked for the COVA because a member of my family has it. And we got up, or we were supposed to be able to get in at 8. We didn't get through the line because you stay in your car till 10:56 or something, almost 11 o'clock. And what was really a killer was we were 2 cars to the front, and all the nurses and doctors left this house and went into this building for their break. And we had to sit there for 20 minutes at their break. It was like, oh, man. But I'm feeling fine. So I was going to go home and prep. But while I was there, the sun was in my eye, and I literally jammed my thumb in my eye, and I scratched my eye bad today. And so I didn't do much today except keep my eye shut. But it started feeling good in the last 2 hours, so that's good. Okay, so enough with that. But yeah, so that was my idea for boiling. You can boil rocks. I mean, you can also scrub them off. You might be able to sandblast them if it's got a real thick. We have this nasty mold down here in the south. That's this black mold, and it gets all over your driveways. If you have stucco houses, tile roofs, you have to literally not sandblast, but power wash everything. But the problem with power wash is your aquarium rocks is, a lot of times you have soap in those power washers. So you don't want to shoot soap into your but what would you suggest, James?
In terms of cleaning your rocks?
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't do a whole lot of cleaning, but I also don't do the rock hounding aspect. Typically, what I'm using in terms of hardscape is coming from a local fish store. Things that I've brought back, let's say from out in nature, usually what I do is I give them a really good wash in the sink, and then I let them sit out in the sun for a week or two. Generally speaking, anything that you're going to have on there that is waterborne or lives exclusively in the water, you let it sit out in the sun for a week with no water, and it's going to dry out, and the sun's going to bake it and should kill off most things, most contaminants. And then usually I just rinse it because it's been outside and toss it in there.
Yep, that's great. Water blasting. And I agree with you. Almost everything I have on this table that we're going to go through, I got at my local fish store. He let me have it today at Aquatic Aesthetics. Actually, he let me have this stuff yesterday. And he's got an amazing collection of different rocks that you can buy from him. And it's Rob in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Aquatic Aesthetics. Thank you so much. I do have a couple of rocks, though. Like I said, the river rocks that I've just picked up whenever I'm walking around a river. I've got some granite that I literally bought almost a whole pallet of this stuff about 20 years ago. It's super heavy. I'm hoping that you guys will be able to see the color in it once we put it in the tank and under the light, because it's super pretty. I bought this at a like a yard shop, landscaping shop. And so you can get some great deals from them, but the problem is you got to clean it, because you don't know what they could even spray the pesticides on it, so keep the weeds down, because they think it's going in a garden. And I've got a rock here that's marble. I have never put it in a fish tank, and I've had this thing probably 20 years. This was one of my Craigslist deals where I went out to get a fish tank, and they said, "You want the rock?" And I said, "Yes." So we're going to even see what this thing looks like. So kind of cool. But okay, what I'll do is I'm going to grab some rocks, and I'm going to put it in here. I've just set up a 10-gallon tank. It was one of the $1 per gallon sale things. I put some pool sand in there and some egg crate. I put the egg crate in just in case my hands get wet and I start slipping. I don't want to drop the rock.
Yeah.
But I thought the sand would maybe let you see what it looks like, just a little better view than if it's on a glass, bottom. So I'm going to take the camera and try to put it in front of this. And honestly, guys, I don't even have the chat up, so I can't see anything.
That's fine. I'm kind of keeping an eye on it and responding in the chat to some questions and things. Steamthought did mention that just because a rock hasn't exploded on you yet doesn't mean it can't happen. Just look at exploding rock videos on YouTube. Lots of good different methods in terms of cleaning rocks. Boiling, scrubbing, using dish soap and then cleaning it out, baking them in the sun for a few weeks, works as well. UV kills a lot of stuff. So I guess legal disclaimer, rocks can explode. So enter that journey at your own risk. It's kind of like piranhas. I'd never been bitten by a piranha, having my hand in a tank 1,000 times. At some point it did happen. And it's kind of like, people that keep venomous snakes. At some point you may get bit. Stuff happens.
I think I'm going to go to a different camera, because I guess let's just try and see what this looks like.
Alrighty.
We'll go with Dragonstone, since everybody knows what Dragonstone is.
Yeah, and please don't rinse your Dragonstone in the motel sink.
Yeah, well, I wanted to win a escape contest, and so what I did is I bought a bunch of Dragonstone, but Dragonstone is made of clay. Let's see, we're going to turn this all the way down, and we'll see if this looks good. It's made with clay, or from clay, but there's a lot of clay that's in the rock that, let's see, how's that look? Can you see it very good, James?
I like it. Perfect. Yep. Good picture. I can see what's going on. We can even see the bubbles coming out. Radil Singh says, I'm too much of a geology, history, anthropology, earth sciences in general nerd not to have a rock collection. I've got 2 large totes full of random rocks, both aquarium safe and collection rocks. So I do want to say, without giving it away, we touched a little bit on it earlier in my stream. Next week on Fish Room Fever YouTube channel, we are going to do a really awesome thing with some fossils. I won't go too in depth, but we've got a friend who's come up with a really awesome idea. And we're going to be playing with some fossils next week. So all you geology people, rock houndy, anthropology, fossil rock types, be sure you check that out because I think you're really going to enjoy it. And Ed and I are going to have a blast, just to be perfectly honest.
Okay. So now, as you can see, this is a sedimentary rock because it's made of clay. But it's one of those that doesn't raise the pH. Maybe that's because clay doesn't really raise the pH. But like the second piece I put in, I can still see lots of clay in the corners and stuff that need to be cleaned out. So if you're going to do some type of scape off or even put it in your tank, clean your dragonstone really well. And some pet stores may already have it clean. A lot of them have a lot of clay in it. So it really depends. But dragonstone, just about any way you put it in your tank, it's going to work. It's crazy. It's an amazing rock all the way around. And the bubbling is just because there's so many little corners and stuff for air to seep in or hang on. It'll eventually come loose and get out of there. Shrimp absolutely love it because look at all that surface. I mean, all the curves all over the place. So shrimp can just peel or climb all over it. Great for housing beneficial bacteria. Dragonstone is it's an amazing rock. Super rock. Okay, so let's pull the dragonstone out and we'll stick to another rock that's pretty porous. It's lace rock. And it's also a rock that comes from Asia. Asia has a lot of cool rocks.
So Christine said, I have a tank full of dragonstone and it's gorgeous. No effects to water. Yeah, I absolutely love dragonstone. It's probably my favorite. I've got it in quite a few tanks.
Okay, this is just normal lace rock. It almost looks like coral. Like dead coral.
Yeah, I can see that.
But, if you'd have a bunch of that and that would look amazing too. I really like how porous it is. So what we're kind of doing is we're just going to go step by step and look at different rocks for people's, you might think, ooh, that might be really good in this scale or in this tank. So now that's your standard rock lace. I've got a really rare rock lace I bought at a fish swap. I bought, I think, about 40 pounds of this, and I've never seen it anywhere else. This is green rock lace. Oh, it's really dirty, or puts up a lot of mix, but it's just super pretty. Once all the air bubbles, I would let that sit for several days and probably tap it a few times just to get some of the air bubbles off. But I don't know if you can see the green in that. I plan on making a whole tank, a jungle tank with this stuff, and make kind of a green jade tank.
That is a really, really pretty rock.
Yeah, and next time I get to Indianapolis, I'm going to try to buy the rest of it. But now it's very crumbly too. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if I'd want to have a fish that will really dig on it because
Priscilla MK says A+ for Ed's demonstration skills. Yeah, Ed is doing a fantastic job. Just needed that a 1/16 of an inch to the left, and it would have been perfect.
Oh, nuts!
Lots of people really like that rock. And what exactly was that rock again?
That was green lace rock.
Green lace rock. All right.
Yeah, the place. Oh boy, maybe I shouldn't. That one I probably should have washed that rock off before I put it in. Look at this rock now. After it's been in the tank, it's just incredible.
Oh man.
I mean, it is amazingly green and beautiful. I mean, the camera's not doing it justice.
And they never do. I love the porosity of it. That would be another great one for a shrimp tank.
Yes. I'm going to save some of that for the next time I do it. Escape off somewhere, because I think that will be kind of an ace in the hole.
Secret History Living in Your Aquarium says, side note, if you have greenstone, please check for copper. It will straight murder shrimp.
Ooh, I will do that. That's a good thing.
Definitely a valid point there, Alex. Thank you for that.
Okay, let's go to Pergata. Boy, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right.
Pagoda?
Pagoda. It's another Asian rock that's really neat. It's a lot like 1,000-layer stone, and I've got 1,000-layer stone. Unfortunately, it's in all my tanks, and I didn't want to take anything out of the tanks and mess up what I've got going on already. So I wish I would have got some of that from the store, because 1,000-layer is really neat. It reminds me of our deserts. Now let's let that settle for just a second. Let's bring this up a little closer. Oh, going closer. There we go. This is a really neat rock because it's literally just thousands of layers of settlement that were squeezed down, and there was so much pressure and heat on it, it turned it into a metamorphic rock. So it doesn't flake apart or anything, but I don't know. Can you guys see that? It's down through water. See the screen.
Oh, that's looking good. Got a couple people, mainly Bettas. I'm with there. Says I have an entire fish room and have dragonstone in every single tank. Love it. I'm a huge dragonstone fan. And then we had Alex was saying, this was to the previous stone. That's a schist and an olivine stone. I think no copper, just a rad green lace.
Oh, awesome.
BJ Palmer said, beautiful. Yes, red shrimp on a green stone equals Christmas tank. I like that. I really, really do.
Well, I got an ornament that I don't normally use too many ornaments, but it was when we were going to my buddy's funeral. I don't want to talk about it because it's going to make me sad, but it's just a sentimental thing. And it's kind of jade, so I thought I would make a jade jungle.
Ed, I've got to interrupt you real quick and say congratulations. I know this is a milestone for you. 105 thumbs ups. We've got 114 people watching. I know that's a record for your channel. So congrats on that. And thank you to everybody for being here and hitting that thumbs up, supporting Ed on this awesome rock stream that he has set up for us today.
Yep. Yeah, thanks. I was getting sidetracked. But so I was going to do kind of a sentimental one, and I'll make a whole video on that when I do it. But this is some pretty neat stuff. I could really see getting into making a whole bunch of this. Like, I think that would make an awesome mountainscape. I think when I go back to the fish store, I'm going to buy some of that. Okay, so we've talked about, once some of these, we'll go with, this is called Silver Alpine. And it is, when I went to the shop, I tried to get stuff that was small so I wouldn't have to carry it around too much or be too heavy. So hopefully I didn't pick stuff that's too small for camera. But can you guys see the layers on this?
Yeah, it's showing up nicely on there.
Now, I mean, picture a bunch of those. I've got a bigger piece in one of my tanks, and it's the only rock in the whole tank, and it's just incredibly beautiful. Actually, it's not that one.
Fantastic says reminds me of Pride Rock from Lion King for some reason.
That's cool. Well, now, so that is silver alpine. This is green alpine stone, and this is what I've got. It actually, I don't know how green it'll be. Unfortunately, the water's getting a little milky. But you can just see if you had a couple of pieces of these things. Now this one really turns green in itself also. I mean, not super like jade green, but a light green. Very neat. So those are alpine. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I was going to put these little things like in front when I demonstrated, but I don't know. It'd be kind of hard to do. Let's see it. Can you see it through the glass?
I cannot see it on the back. No, sir.
Oh. I should have went with the solid rocks that don't contain any dirt or sand or any clay in first. That was poor decision making. Now, I'm going to show you guys what this looks like out of the water now that it's wet and not milky. I mean, look at this is just a beautiful rock.
That's a gorgeous piece right there.
This is the silver alpine. And let me get the green. I mean, look at this thing is. This is a beautiful rock. This is not doing it justice. But very cool.
I'm trying to get the link for Aquatic Aesthetics.
Oh, here. Thanks. Yeah, Rob was so cool. He even gave me his personal phone number and told him if I get stumped during the stream, I could call him up. Okay, let's see. I've got some red shell, and this is actually a sedimentary rock, and once it's like squeezed with heat and pressure, it turns into slate. So this would eventually turn into red slate. But this is I like using this stuff. I get you know how slate comes in sheets. Well, this can be in sheets also. So it makes great like tops. Like if you're going to put a couple of, what I did was I took thin slices of this, and then I put the 2000 layered stone because it kind of looks like something from Death Valley also. And I put that on top, and I create caves in my tanks. And it's just really neat. So there's not a whole lot. Everybody's seen shell before, but I like the red, so I thought I'd show it off and want to get some of that in there. Okay?
I do like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a very square or sheets. So here is some green quartzite, which this is metamorphic sandstone. This would be sandstone that's super old. Boy, I really messed up when I put the dragonstone in. Sorry, folks. But now, you see this is just a sheet. So it can go great, like if you're going to build a hide, you can do something like that. And now you've got a great hide, angelfish, and a lot of other cichlids that lay eggs on that, like they will slate. Fish will hide under it. You can also get a big enough piece, and you could always just throw it in the back. Oh, maybe I should. This side has a little more color to it. But you can always do something like this and just hide a sponge filter completely behind. Let's see, I'll just grab a little bitty sponge filter. See, you can't even see the sponge filter behind. Can you see the corner?
No, not a whole lot. It's getting murky in there.
Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I don't know if it'd be worth it for me to drain it and try to do it over. If it gets to a point where you guys can't see anything, let me know. And maybe what we'll do is I'll drain it off real quick and refill it. It'll probably take me 5 minutes, and you could just answer questions.
We could do that. I'm not seeing a whole lot of, lots of awesome comments, but not a whole ton of questions. And the ones I'm seeing are getting answered or they're directed at other people. Steamfight Aquatics still hanging out. And again, thank you, Bob. I don't know that I actually got to say thank you for doing that giveaway that you did. I really appreciate that. But thank you for hanging out. I'm going to have you on again sometime soon because we didn't really get to talk to you a whole lot. Not complaining. It was an amazing stream. We had a lot going on, but I didn't get to spend as much time discussing with you as I'd like to.
James, let's go to the split screen and you talk a little bit, and I'm going to just drain it and fill it with clear water.
All right, buddy. Let me move some monitor things around here, and I'll bring myself back. Hey, I'm back. I'm sorry. Scary time. All right, got my chat here. Zen, thank you for posting the Aquatic Aesthetics website. That is Ed's local fish store where he got that rock from. Very cool place. And Steamthought had a good point. Says just because it reacts doesn't mean it's bad for aquariums. Just saying. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Just means that you need to be aware of the reaction. Alex says, Bob Steamthought, I have a pie for you. Bob doesn't eat pie. He'll take a steak, though. Drain it in a bucket and rinse rocks in the bucket first. Yeah, very good thought. Dave's Aquarium Thoughts. And what time are you going on tonight, Dave? If you want to let us know in the chat. I was trying to pull it up, but I got sidetracked. QTV says, what would some good fish mates be with a betta and coolie loaches in a 30-gallon cube? You're going to want to make sure that you have, and well, first off, let me start this with bettas, like all other fish, can have individual personalities. You know, I've got one betta that's fine with tank mates and another that absolutely hates everything that you get near him. So that's going to play a factor in it. But you definitely would want to look for something that would be able to get away from the betta if the betta is aggressive. You know, I definitely want to avoid something like large-tailed guppies or anything that's slow-moving. Things of that nature. Really, it comes down to kind of, once again, personal preference. What type of fish do you enjoy? What's something that you would want to look at? And then kind of viewing compatibility from there. I've found oftentimes, once you kind of get experienced and familiar with fish, the compatibility is not quite the issue that it's often perceived as, I guess. You know, I've got datnoids in with angelfish back here while the datnoids are growing out. Definitely not a recommended tank mate, but they do just fine. Let's see, where was that? Yeah. Sure, there are several different types of tetras you could probably do in there that would be able to get away. 30-gallon cube is a really good size tank, so I don't really foresee having the issues, especially if you've got it planted. If you're going to do planted, that gives some places for fish to kind of avoid the betta, so to speak. But just kind of look at what you want to do. People ask about putting gold in their tanks. If you've got the money to put gold in your tank, go ahead and visit my PayPal link. And no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, if you got money to put gold in your tank, go for it. You know, I don't know if Ed can still hear me or not. But yeah, again, it goes back to, I hate to recommend a specific fish because if it's something you don't like, then it's just a bad recommendation for you. But kind of look at, hey, I enjoy this, you know, it depends on what you want to do. If you're looking for a color contrast, look at what color your betta is and go for a different colored fish. You know, maybe you got a blue betta, you want to get, I don't know, some rummy noses in there with that red. A lot of different ways you could go with that. I would think that tetras would probably be a good safe choice. Suggestions for a 35-gallon hex. So, yes, Zen Ginger has already hit it. Pea puffers. I absolutely love pea puffers in the hex tanks. Fantastic Freaks. I think he's hanging out in chat still. I don't remember if he's got a hex or if it's just a corner tank, but he's got a really neat tank. I know he's got pea puffers. I can't remember if they're in that tank, but he's got a lot of cool puffers. Go check out what he's got going on. I really do enjoy the pea puffers for those hex tanks / the corner tanks with like Secret History says, my suggestion for a hex, get a different tank. And I can understand that. Hex tanks are kind of like bow fronts in the sense that some people absolutely hate them. I don't have a hex, but I've got one of the old style corner tanks before they were doing the bow front, where it's got the flat angled sides and then one flat panel. So, you know, I'm not a full hex, but still has those angles on it. Not a huge fan of them just because of the restricted viewing areas, if you will. You know, sometimes fish disappear, but if you've got it, I'm not going to say toss it. But definitely pea puffers would be really cool in one of those. Sarah J. Sieber says, Fish from Fever, amethyst in fish tanks. I've heard yes and no, so which is it? Secret History living in your aquarium or another one of the rock hounds could probably answer that better than myself. In all honesty, I am not real big on the rocks like they are, and Alex is a super scientific guy. So I would wait a second and see what Alex has to say, because I could give an answer, but he's probably going to have the scientific explanation. Angels is another one, just putting, a couple angelfish in there. If I'm going to do something like that, which that corner tank I think is eventually going to end up with just a couple angels, I like having the jungle val in there because it gets really, really tall. So you can get a really awesome look going, and you don't have to worry quite as much about getting light all the way down to the bottom for some of your other plants. So that's kind of my personal preference. Again, up to you, but I really like jungle val in those tanks, especially with the angels. I just think it's cool to watch them kind of weave in and out of that stuff. Yes, I do. Amy's asking if I have the Bowfront tank. I have not set it up yet because that's the one that I am saving to do the saltwater setup in. So that one I'm going to, where I'm breaking down the 110 salt tank, I'm going to take the prettiest live rock out of there and some sand, and I'm going to set it up for a nice little reef tank. But I'm wanting to build a stand for it versus just having it on one of the fish racks or one of the shelves. So it's kind of a money process at the moment. There are a lot of things backed up that I need to pay for, in terms of just like, resealing and building the stand and rebracing the 220. I've got a lot of racks that need built, but I want to do a really, really nice stand for that one, especially with it being a bow front. I'm going to just build a custom stand for it and have it kind of as a standalone thing. But I do still have it, and I've got Nathan's sticker on there, and I need to add your Sand Creek Aquatics 2 sticker on it as well. Biscotti Nunya says, hey, lurking tonight. Have a good stream. Appreciate the lurk, as always, very, very much. Go back up here. Sabrina Stewart says, how many shrimp do you suggest for a tank maintenance? 20 gallon, could be a 29, and Molly's, Platies, White Cloth, Corys, and a Pleco. My Molly breeding tank. Honestly, I think that's the one that they recommended, or maybe Ed mentioned shrimp for. I don't know that I would necessarily recommend shrimp for that tank. In my experience, I found that you can definitely get some predation from Corys on shrimplets along with the mollies. I do shrimp with my guppies and lots of other things, but those specifically, I usually don't. I don't expect a lot of breeding going on. I'll put it that way. So normally, I would take into account the fact that you're going to put shrimp in there. They're going to breed out. Case in point, I think I bought 10, maybe 12 Blue Dreams from LRB, and now I've got 60, 70 in there. But I would maybe start with a dozen or so. You can just do cherry shrimp, fairly cheap, and they'll breed out, but probably not as quickly as they would if there weren't those other fish in there to predate on them. Honestly, I'm a Pleco guy. I really like Plecos. If you're looking for something to eat the food, and I know you had mentioned that you were overfeeding for fry, and I totally understand that. Also, I'll give you a recommendation, not that you asked for it, but the Extreme Nano is what I use for my fry. It's a really fine pellet / powder almost. Grows them really well. It's got a really high protein content. So I use that, and you don't have a ton of leftover, but the leftover is also really, really fine so that your shrimp could handle that. But generally, I have Plecos, and they do a lot of the work.
Did you just see the camera being pushed down?
Kind of. I was looking at chat.
Oh, Nico is doing that. He's behind the camera, and he keeps pushing the camera down.
I saw it bouncing a little bit earlier.
That was probably him. But, okay, can you see the rocks better?
Yes, much better. I can even read your shirt through the tank now.
Oh, all right. So, yeah, don't put in, like, Dragonstone first. So, James and I didn't even talk all the way about what I did at one of the shows we went to. We were going to do a competition, and we didn't know we were going to be in it. So I went around and bought supplies for it, and I bought Dragonstone, and then I put it in the bathroom sink to wash all the clay off, and it completely clogged our sink. and neither James or I knew it. But when the lady came, and I cleaned the sink, so it wasn't all dirty. But when she came, like the maid to clean everything, she turned on the water and let it run. And they thought sewage was coming out through the sink. And so they have kept apologizing about the sink backing up. It was so funny. We weren't able to use the room all day, but yeah, that was pretty funny. So that's what James was talking about. Okay, so these are the alpines. This is the green and this is the silver. Both of them are super pretty. And oh my man, this side looks really good on this side. Well, they both sides look good. So, and you can get them larger. I tried to get smaller stuff that I could carry easy. So, let's pull these out. And we'll pull this guy out. Let's go with, well, this is something I know won't dirty up the water because I've had it in several tanks over the years, except it weighs 1,000,000 pounds. This is my granite. And it is incredibly beautiful. I mean, oh gosh, I don't know. Can you guys see how pretty this is? I have pieces of this in almost every tank because I use this when I fill tanks and I shoot the water. I drop the water right on these big pieces of granite. And they disperse water real well, and it just doesn't mess up my substrate whatsoever. But now, like this one, what I did was I put these one at a time in a big boiling pot and pulled them out, big lobster pot, and I only did it for like a minute or two one time, and that was good enough. And they didn't have anything growing on them, so I didn't have to scrub them. Just a nice looking fish, nice looking rock. Does it do it any justice, James? Can you see the?
I can't see a thing. No, I'm just kidding. I can see a lot of colors coming through depending upon how the light hits it.
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase. Not a lot of different colors, but a lot of color variation between the two colors.
Okay. Well, it's red and gray. Oh my gosh, it's so heavy.
Let's see, just from my eye, and I know the camera plays tricks and color perception is different for everybody, but it almost looks like a blue, that gray. It looks like a blue-gray to me. It looks really cool.
Now, these are just, everybody has a stream somewhere by them. And a couple of well-placed river rock pebbles, the stones, they've been pounded for, over years, and they're nice and round and smooth. You can't beat that. I mean, if you're working on a budget, that's awesome.
Dave's Aquarium Thoughts was asking how many hotel bathrooms have been destroyed. We don't discuss that, Dave. Billing fees and, legal issues. We don't discuss that. Let's just say Ed and I have stayed in a lot of hotels for fish events, and, sometimes they're in perfect working order when we leave, and sometimes not so much.
Now, you see, this is where regions, like when you go from one region to the country to another, different rocks. These are Tennessee river rocks. My local fish store also sells black river stone, but we don't have black around here. I mean, look at how pretty that is. So, like, maybe if all you have is black, maybe your fish store might sell white. You just. So it's kind of neat. I took this one also because it was broken, and I just wanted to see what it would look like with that broken edge. And I really can't get around to that side of the camera, so I'm going to have to watch this afterwards and see how terrible I did, guys. But so, I mean, like I say, you can get a lot of stuff that's not in your local area at your local fish store.
Real quick, I just want to say, Show Steam Thought still lurking in here. Bob, the winner of your beta giveaway, did in the email say she got so excited she forgot to thank you. So please thank you for that.
Thanks, Bob, for coming on. That was a lot of fun.
It was. We didn't really get to talk to Bob that much. Again, I'm not complaining. It was a fun show, and I'm sorry I couldn't keep up. Normally, it's not quite that fast paced, and I wasn't feeling it my prime, but that was a blast.
Yeah, I wish Bob would just move. Well, now he's got Jimmy back, so he probably won't. But I was hoping he would move to Tennessee because it'd be fun to hang out with him all the time.
Moonmaker, I agree completely. Says, I'm enjoying the underwater rock demonstration. It really does change the look of the rocks.
It really does. And, you know, if you've got a good relationship with your local fish store, like I do, and he will let me just take rocks and put them like in the Oscar tank to see what they're going to look like. You know, he's not going to let everybody do that, but, you know, if you're watching this, you're probably a fish nerd, and so they're going to trust you.
Well, and you've got like my LFS Aquatic Marine. They built a aquascaping area right next to their hardscape and their their wood and their rock, so that you could take it over there to the enclosure that's got the substrate in it. It's got the gravel in it, and you could play with it and kind of move it around. Now, you don't get the color change like the underwater, but you can still scape it out beforehand. That way you don't buy the stuff, get home, and go, oh, this doesn't work.
Yeah, Rob at Aquatic Athletics had that for a while, but he grew too big and had to use the space. So that's, his shop's been a blessing. He just opened, I don't know, probably last January or February, I'm not for sure. So it's been pretty neat to see him grow so much in 1 year. I mean, he's already taken the shop next door, so pretty cool.
That's awesome.
This is your standard petrified wood. This is what's basically happened is a tree has fallen like into a lake, a river, and it's gotten stuck under the muck. And because it got stuck under the muck, no oxygen can get to the wood. And if oxygen can't touch the wood can't rot. So what's happened is it stays under there, and then the muck and everything just puts pressure on it. It actually turns like basically a fossil, but it's a tree fossil. And petrified wood is so cool. And it is literally, there's different types of petrified wood everywhere in the world. And it just looks so neat. I don't know, is this close enough to the camera for you guys to see it good?
Oh yeah, it looks really good. It's coming through nice and clear. Oh. I wish you'd clean the bubbles off the glass, Ed. Goodness gracious.
I just noticed that. I filled it up again and left the bubbles on.
I'm just picking on you, but
no,
I did want to say a huge thanks to Moonstone, because she's been a huge supporter, but really congratulations. Moonstone said that she just saw that she'd passed 150 subscribers. Congrats to you. Yeah, we talked about you, I think it was last Saturday. It's one of the past 2 Saturdays. You were one of our featured 5 channels that we've been doing on the Saturday Night Fever live stream. So I am super, super stoked and happy for you. You keep doing what you're doing. Love what you got going on.
Now, I don't know, but Sheila's so close to Bob's Team Thought, she's maybe met him.
Right.
He's one of the YouTubers I've never met. But, okay. So,
Geek Boy, have a great night. Appreciate you hanging out with us.
This is another type of petrified wood. They call this samurai wood, or samurai stone. It's basically Japanese petrified wood.
I really like that one.
Yeah, it is super neat. And I mean, even the back is neat. And, my local guy, he has all sorts of shapes and sizes of this. So, but I love how red that is. I like how the petrified wood really looks red. And I'm going to pull out, this is another petrified wood. It's called it's called woodstone. I thought it was called redstone. But I have bought a lot of this. Look at how red.
That's got a real nice red to it.
And then it has like some minerals leached into this one. I was like shocked how brilliantly red this was when I finally decided to use it. I don't know. I bought like maybe 50 or 60 pounds of it. I bought a whole lot of it the first time I saw it. And I just absolutely love how red it is.
Secret History says that is also sold as Wonderstone in PetSmart. And also comes in yellow too.
Oh, nice. The Samurai or the Red Stone? Secret History, man. He is an amazing guy. He is super smart. He works at a great, awesome, cool shop. I would love to visit his shop someday.
Speaking of smart, awesome shop worker people, Priscilla says we call that red Nepal rock at my store.
Oh, well, and you see, today I scratched my eye. I was going to do research on every single one of these rocks. And it's a lot like fish. You know how everybody has different names for fish, and it's kind of hard if you don't have the Latin name. And I don't even, there's probably a Latin name for rocks also. But I was bringing up these names and had a hard time finding them. So I appreciate that, guys.
Moonstone, have a great night. Appreciate you hanging out with us and all your support. And again, congratulations. Trying to go through here. Lots of good conversation going on. I'm not seeing any more specific questions, or at least questions that awesome Alex at Secret History hasn't taken care of anyways.
I appreciate that, man. Okay, now, this is Siru stone. The English is Sexu stone, so I prefer to say it the Japanese way, is Siru. But it is a super pretty rock. Can you see that?
Oh, and we do have Dave's aquarium thoughts. I wasn't sure what time he was going to go. Is that a reminder? Let me look. Okay, so it's 12. No, you're fine. It's 12:35. He's not scheduled for another 30 minutes though. I'm sure if we conclude before then, he'll pick up when we leave off. He is going to be doing a giveaway, and he's going to be discussing fish keeper gifts, do's and do nots. I would like to also put it in your brains that if you don't know Sean Peck at Peck Tech, he's an awesome guy from here in Knoxville, a much bigger channel than Ed or myself, but he's a cool guy, and he did a video on Christmas do's and do nots as well. So at some point, check that out, but be sure you hang out for Dave's because he's doing a giveaway and having a little discussion on what not to give fish keepers and what you should.
One thing, and I don't want to be a spoiler, but the worst thing I ever got, but you know what? I'll say it in his stream. Okay, so, but do you see the Siru stone? It's really pretty. And like I say, the English version is actually, it's pronounced Sexu, but the Japanese version is Siru, and I like that a lot. This looks better. Even though I guess it's a sexy rock. Okay.
Secret History says, do not give fish keepers duckweed.
Oh my gosh. You guys have got to see this rock.
Oh man, yes. Look at that. Really nice.
Duckweed would be horrible. Let's see if I pick the light up. Oh, it washes it out too much. But it's
we used to do a duckweed giveaway every week and nobody was showing up. I'm just kidding. We didn't do that.
We could do that.
Again, a huge thank you. We've got 97 people watching, 116 thumbs ups. Y'all are incredible. Very much appreciated.
Now here's the marble. I've never even seen it underwater myself. And I've been carrying this thing around for years.
There we go. There's the camera angle.
A big thing I don't like to do is I don't like Noah's Ark tanks where people have like one of every tank or every fish. Well, it's the same way with rocks. I don't like to have like 8 different types of rocks. So I like to keep it pretty consistent. Because, pretty much anywhere you find, you go out in the wild, you're not going to see a whole mess of the same stuff or a whole lot of different things. So I think that's one reason why I've never put this tank or this rock in anything, because I have nothing like it. But it's so pretty.
It is. It's very pretty. And that's where Ed and I kind of go our separate ways. I don't like having 8 different stones, but if I'm doing, say, escape where maybe I've got a valley area and I want a mountain area, I might have different stone for my mountain area than I do down on what would be my valley portion of it. But it's all personal preference.
Yeah, and I mean, James's tanks look amazing. So.
Priscilla says that's the chicken bone rock.
Is that what she calls it?
That's what she's calling it.
That works. It's heavy. And then my last, let's see. I think I went through everything so far. I had a couple pieces that I wanted to do, but they were in tanks. This is the first rock that I ever bought. It used to be really popular. And I bought this when I was 13 years old. And I've been using it as a doorstop since I was like 21. So let's see what it looks like underwater. Oh, it still has some of its pretty color. It was a cheaper piece because it was ugly side, that side. But it was a cheaper piece because, I don't know, the weird shape it was. But it was a piece that I could afford as a kid. So I loved it. And they call it peacock stone at the pet store that I bought it at back in St. Louis when I was a kid. And you used to see they used to see like little like castles like drilled at Petco and PetSmart out of this stuff because it has lots of layers of pinks and whites and yellows. But I haven't seen it for quite a while.
So Sandy Dowdy is requesting that we see the granite rock wet out of water.
The granite?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, now, you know what? I don't want to hold that over the tank because it weighs like 30 pounds. So that was my last rock. So why don't I spin the camera around where I can not have to hold it like bending over the tank? Is that cool?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I like Merdul came up with duckweed. Destroy until consistently known water is extremely exterminated. Done.
You guys, I'm not kidding. There is a pet store here in Chattanooga that sells duckweed for $7 a beaker.
Yeah, a little bitty teeny thing of duckweed for $7. Yeesh.
Oh. Nico doesn't want to move, and he's in my way. Urgh. Sorry, folks. Hope you don't get seasick. There we go. And, of course, Baby Cat is sitting on my chair. Oh, my cables all got spun around. Now, the granite has already started to dry out. But, I mean, if you can see those, it's like a marble, or it's a dark maroon and a gray. And the gray has little shiny flecks through it. I absolutely love this.
It is an awesome stone.
It just weighs, like I say, 35 pounds. But actually, the wood, look at the backside. That's just a super pretty piece.
That is gorgeous stuff.
But yeah, I just wanted to show, let's see if the Dragonstone looks better from here, or the sinew. I mean, look at that. That's awesome. I paint rocks, like artificial stuff for my miniatures to look like this rock. That just looks like a hunk of mountain. That's awesome. I love this stuff. But now, check this out. I get to get Baby Cat off my chair.
Oh, this is always fun.
Yeah.
This is my favorite part of the pre-show is watching Ed try and get the cat out of his chair.
Yeah, she always does this when I'm in the fish room. Come on, baby. Yep, come on. Come on. Oh, good girl. Okay.
All right. I'll bring myself back up. Ed, that was an awesome demonstration. And I want to say a huge thank you for doing that. I learned a good bit there. And it's nice, like some people have mentioned, to be able to see those rocks underwater and see what they look like.
I was hoping to. I can't believe I did the Dragonstone first and clouded the water up so bad, but oh well. And now I still don't have any text. I never logged on to the show.
Ed doesn't like the chat. He doesn't look at it. Pegasus Arena, have a great night. Appreciate you hanging out.
Oh, I wonder how. Did she ever say how her substrate turned out?
I don't know that she did.
She was having a tough time with the substrate. And I'm actually going to make a video with that green stone that I was showing you, the green place. And I'm going to start totally from scratch. So you're going to see it I'm going to do a sand substrate, a dirted substrate with sand on top, sand cap. And that's what she's doing right now. And it's too bad she started now and didn't wait a week, because then she could have seen it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see. How do I get... I got to log on to YouTube.
Well, if you got any last-minute questions, feel free to throw those in there if we missed something. Be happy to answer those. I've really enjoyed this. This was a fun, informative stream, and it was a nice almost break, if you will, after the stream that we just had. It was a little bit more rapid fire. It was fun, but definitely a little different. And again, congrats, buddy. 116 thumbs ups. I know that's a record for a live stream while it's live. So super cool of you all. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I'm sorry that it was a little crazy too at the same time, but the intentions were to help do things or to see stuff.
Secret History says the show started with acid and dragonstone, then ended with a cat. Good show.
Yeah, and I didn't bleed from the cat, so that's good. She didn't use her claws on me. I think she was about to, and then she just decided to give up. She knows I win this war every time.
Right. Yeah, mine, I keep shipping boxes stacked on these tanks behind me here, and I knew that my one cat was laying behind them before the stream, and they were kind of halfway, perched to fall before we started. And I was like, maybe she'll just stay asleep and she won't stretch or anything. She made it through my stream, and then earlier, some of you all noticed the ouch. I had, stacked this high of shipping boxes come flying off onto my head. And then she got mad. I wouldn't let her. What's that?
Did everybody get to see that?
No, I was off screen at that point. We were showing the tank. That's the same cat that's dropped stuff on my head before off of the tank, so not surprising.
Yeah, I have since put a tank up where Nico liked to jump up and then dive down on me, so he can't get above me anymore. That's really helped a lot.
Absolutely. So we will have a giveaway coming up, I think, on Ed's stream here in the next couple of weeks. I don't even know if Ed knows about it yet.
I honestly don't. What's going on?
He doesn't. We've had someone has donated. We haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do it, but has donated some money to be given away in a couple different giveaways. We're going to spread those out between Ed's and mine for either fish or plants or accessories on fishroomfever.com/shop. And we'll go into more detail about that in the future. But I mentioned that now because we want to make sure you've hit subscribe and ding that notification bell for Chattanooga Ed. That way you can be here when it happens.
You know what? I see Mississippi Hippie here, and I put a unboxing video of her. She sent me some Nebula Steel, and oh my God, they are so beautiful. I was so excited when I got them. I did the rookie mistake. Whenever someone new shows me their video for the first time, I always tell them, turn the camera this way. I was so excited about these fish because I get super excited about guppies. I kind of lose my mind. Like one time, James and I were at a swap, and James was holding guppies, and I just took them out of his hands and said, I want these. I don't remember even doing it. It's like I black out when guppies are around.
I still give him a hard time for that one. Yeah, when Ed and I go to a swap, I have to try and go get ahead of him or go the opposite direction. That way I don't lose any guppies to him because those.
Well, ever since I've tried to be conscious.
I'm just picking on you. But Ed and I have this thing where we try and buy different guppies. So instead of us having, say 40 tanks apiece with the same guppies, we might have 80 different types of guppies. So that's always fun when we do stuff. I love doing it. But sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. And hopefully someday we can swap.
Yep.
But I mean, right now I've got so many different types of guppies. I don't have room for guppies. But which is kind of a weird thing to say. I mean, always got room for guppies. But thank you so much, Mississippi Hippie. You can go to her store on Get Gills. I'm not for sure how to put a link. So I wish I could have put in a link on there at the bottom of the notes or whatever on that video.
I'll add one in the description for you.
Awesome. So that was super surprising this week. We also want to remind everybody about Catfish Christmas. Mm-hmm. It is just like we did Pasilia. I almost said Pasilia Christmas. Pasilia month. Or what was Pasilia Pride?
Project Pasilia?
Project Pasilia. We had that competition earlier this year. We had Anabantoid August, and now we have Catfish Christmas. You guys can go to, and Zen, she is amazing. She's already posted the link on Facebook, and that will tell you all the rules. There's 3 competitions: photos, videos, and art. And you guys might as well do it because it's just a lot of fun. And you can also go and see past people's what they've entered in the past, and just kind of cool. And we're going to keep doing it as the years go on. We'll do different things. We're talking about how are we going to do cichlids right now. So that might be the next one, may not be. Just kind
Absolutely.
of a throw out. We're also crustaceans was one.
Yep.
We've talked about goldfish. So they're puffers. We've talked about a whole lot of different things that people really like. So
we are going to do them. It's just a matter of getting around to it.
Yep. And Lisa is our special guest on it. She came on with the last one, and maybe we got her forever. That'd be pretty cool if we hooked her in.
That would be. Absolutely. Special guest judge.
Yep. Lisa from KG. And then we also have Guppy Guru from the Guppy Guru Show, the Zen Ginger, and she has an amazing channel. And I wish I had her production skills. Yeah, I have 0 production skills. She has amazing production skills. Go check out Zen Ginger. And then the Lefty Show. And Lefty is one of the judges. Lefty probably does 90% of the work, and Zen does 10, and the rest of us just show up. And maybe Zen does more, but
I'm just there. I was just brought in. I was brought in as the face. Can you believe that nonsense?
Yeah. We just promote. But the Lefty Show, I'll be on tomorrow. We're going to start a little later than normal at 4:30. He has a doctor's appointment, and we'll run till about 6 o'clock. We don't go over Science Scout, so we'll go until Science Scout starts and cut it off. And then we also have our show on Saturday, Saturday Night Fever, and James has always got something fun and cooked up for that.
I think this week, kind of sticking with you and the support from your LFS, I've got my local fish store owner, Kenny of Aquatic Marine. I think he's going to be our special guest on the live stream this Saturday. I went and set up all of his live stream stuff the other day for him. So I think we're going to give it a test run tomorrow. And I think that'll be Saturdays. If not, it'll be the Saturday after that. But we've always got something lined up. And we've always must have a laundry list of guests. Alex, Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. One day you and I will get together. I'm just horrible with phone calls, as Ed and Rack and other people can attest to. But you and I need to get together at some point. And a huge thank you for all of your help in the chat tonight. You know these things far better scientifically than I do. So I just kind of stepped out of your way and let you do your thing. It's very much appreciated. As someone said, talk nerdy to us. We like it.
Yes, and I love watching his show. I turn it on like when I'm cleaning tanks. And I've got about 60 tanks in the fish room, so I spend a lot of time in my fish room. And so he is one of the guys that I've been listening to for a long time. I wanted to buy his t-shirt. He had a 30% off on Teespring, and he has this one Coradora shirt that I absolutely love. And I just was doing too many things and didn't get around to it. So next time there's a sale, maybe he'll have an after Christmas party or New Year's.
There you go.
But yeah, check him out. He's a great guy. And is there anything else I'm missing?
I think you've, really covered all the bases on this one. This is a really, really good stream. Really, really knowledgeable and informative.
We'll have to have Alex on like live, and then I could do experiments, and he could tell me how I'm messing up. It'd be like the science guy and the science goof.
Right?
That'd be cool.
Sabrina's asking, how long does it take you all to clean your fish rooms? They're never all the way clean. It's a never-ending, ongoing process, because any time that they're clean, I find things to mess up. It's like, okay, everything's caught up. Now I can rip something else apart. So it's ongoing for me.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys could see my wall on this side of tanks, but like I've got 4 tanks that are just sitting empty because I like to just let them cure and get old. But as soon as I fill them, then I'll be messing with those too. So I'm always doing things. It just, I love my fish room. I hurt my back seriously, really bad a few years ago at my old job. I loved my job, but they told me if I kept going, I'd be in a wheelchair. So, and I used to play lots and lots of sports also. So since then, all I did was eat and get chubby, but I started getting back into big fish. I mean, I used to always keep like 4 tanks tops my whole life until now. And now I have, like, people come in and they say it looks like a fish store.
It really does. Ed's setup is one of the nicest I've seen. It may not be the biggest, but it's definitely one of the nicest. Like it's a quality look, the way that he took his time, laid it out, painted it, set it up. I mean, it makes me jealous. I may have more tanks, but it's not nearly as nice of a setup as what he's got.
Well, I don't know about that, but I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, buddy. Yeah, 88 people still watching and 120 likes. Awesome job, people. Reminder, we've got Dave's Aquarium Thoughts up next. He's going to be doing a giveaway and discussing the do's and do nots in terms of fish keeper gifts for Christmas. Pinky and the Brain said several people referring to you and Alex on a stream together. I think that'd be awesome.
Zoinks! Or did he say zoinks or zot? Or what did he used to say?
I don't know.
Today, Brian.
The same thing we do every day, Pinky. Trying to take over the world.
Man, I haven't seen that since high school. I love that show.
Yes. Narf. There we go. Dave's Aquarium Thoughts got it. Narf.
That's it. Why'd I go Zot? Narf.
Oh, goodness.
That's great. But, yeah, that'd be really cool.
Absolutely.
And so, I don't know.
So Sabrina's saying meant clean tanks more than the actual room. I break mine up into different days because I've got 3 areas. I've got this room that has 2, 4, 6, 8 or 9 tanks. The hallway, which has 6 dozen or so tanks, and then the main fish room, which has like 40-ish tanks in it. So I do different days. This room I'll do on one day. The hallway gets done on its own day, and then of course the main fish room has its own day, and it's got a lot more tanks. But I have a really good method with a Python and then the Python hook. And the way I rig mine up is I can just go through and boom, 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 drain all the tanks on a rack. I'll usually hit both racks, and then I'll just go through and refill everything. So systematically gotten it down to where it minimizes how much time spent, but it's still a significant amount of time for the main room.
Well, yeah, I do water changes on these 2 walls one week, and then these 2 walls the other week. Yeah. And I don't squeeze my sponge filters probably nearly enough. I normally wait till they actually stop bubbling, and then I do maintenance on them.
That's mine. I watch flow, kind of like hang on backs. I watch the flow. If I notice there's a decrease in the air bubbles, I'll break them apart. And in terms of cleaning, I don't really clean my glass unless, I'll say maybe once a month I'll go through and scrape them when I'm doing a water change. But unless I'm going to be filming a tank, and then I'll clean the glass on the front. But a lot of times if I've got algae on there, I just leave it. This tank's got a lot of algae on the front. It's probably time to do a scraping on it, but I'm about to change it out a little bit, so I haven't messed with it.
I keep so many plants, I really don't get algae ever anymore. I have algae I see in like 3 tanks. And one of them's one of my newest tanks. This one right here. This is the one that I put up to block Nico because he would jump down on me from here. but there's algae and duckweed. So I need to go to war with that. I've got a corkscrew val I got it very small. There. You can kind of see the corkscrew starting to come up.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it's going to take over, and the algae's not going to be able to do good. But right now, it's just going to take a little bit of time. Oh, I can already see it sprouted off on this other side. Let's see if I can just show you my dirty tank.
Chevy Fishes headed out. Have a great night, Chevy Fish. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Always great to see you.
And you see, that's that redstone. Of course, with green algae in front of the redstone, It's going to take away the red.
Zen asking if the tank light is too bright or get direct sunlight. I know it doesn't get any sunlight. I would dare say, guessing here, and Ed can confirm this, but the light is probably the same one he uses on all his other ones. So.
Oh yeah, I use Aquanites, and I literally lay them on top of the 20-gallon longs. So they're not a super great light, but it's such a shallow tank. It works great. And once I get more plants in there, it will take over because I don't have any algae in any of my other 20 longs, except for the other one that just has a little bit of guppy grass starting. And then I have my 40 breeder has algae in it. And that's because it's basically just a Nubius in there. And I was letting it get all algaed up for my giant autocats. So I actually did that one kind of on purpose. Normally I would try to clean it out. And the giant autocats are doing great. My local fish store guy got 4 more in. So I'm thinking about getting 2 more. That's Aquatic Aesthetics. I want to really promote him tonight because he really helped me out a lot by giving me a lot of those stones. So absolutely. I really appreciate him.
He's an awesome guy, and I really do love his store when I get down there. Really cool setup. And he does really cool videos. We posted the link for his YouTube channel as well. He does a lot of unboxings and things on his YouTube channel.
Yep. And Bob does a lot of streams from there. Once I hit 1,000, I'll do a live stream there. Maybe James and I will do a live stream from his store and my store or something. And
there you go.
Someday or something. And Rob said he'll also be happy to be a guest sometime with us too, which would be cool.
Madul is killing it with the puns and the dad jokes tonight. Says, "Oh shist, the stream is almost over. When is James dyeing his beard?"
Oh,
so
it's 101.
Yeah, it's 101.
Oh.
We'll get there one day, Steenfot. I don't know. I've got some goals on certain media platforms that if I hit those, I'll dye my beard. There may or may not also be some super chat amounts that would cause me to dye my beard. And I may just dye it for the heck of it. I've considered it, but it is what it is. We'll get there. And Bob, thank you again, dude. It was awesome hanging out with you. And thanks for doing that giveaway.
As long as my Chiefs are winning, I'm going to keep it red.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this for 20-some years. One of my friends sent me a photo of me from about 10 years ago with the red beard. I should show it to you sometime. Because it's me, I look different, but I have the red beard.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, thank you, everybody, for showing up. I don't want to run over Dave because he's a great, great guy. Go over and check him out. Aquarium Thoughts. He really works hard and does a great job, and he's a super nice guy.
He really does. And he's doing a giveaway. Zen Ginger has posted the link in the chat for that.
Awesome. And I am going to rewatch this tomorrow. It takes about 24 hours for me to be able to see what everybody said. So I'm going to enjoy reading what everybody was saying while I was doing this.
Absolutely. And we'll get a link posted again. A couple people asking for it. We'll get it posted one more time. Ed, thank you for having me. I always enjoy being here with you. And thank you, everybody, for supporting this guy. He's awesome. And I appreciate you helping and supporting.
Oh, you bet. And Tom, this is for you.
All right. Are you doing your okay? I didn't know if you were doing your thing there.
We're still live.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know if you were going to say your keep your hands wet thing.
Oh, no, I do that for you.
Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. Go see Dave.